are now listening to the Surfside Pay-Per-Click Advertising Podcast.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Surfside PPC Advertising Podcast. Today's going to be our Thursday show, so our Monday shows are going to feature news from the previous week, and our Thursday shows are going to be more related around things that you can learn around PPC, lessons, all sorts of things like that. It's not going to be as news focused. It's really going to be focused on kind of teaching different things about pay-per-click advertising, about marketing in general. It's not always just going to be geared towards pay-per-click advertising. It might be geared towards, just digital marketing as a whole. So to get started, one of the first things I want to do is talk about one of the great products that I use. It's called Sem Rush. If you might be familiar with this tool already, but highly recommend giving Sem Rush a try. If you go to surfsideppc.com/SEMrush, you can join for free and you can sign up. And if you don't like it, you don't have to put your money in or anything right away. So you could always give it a try before you pay anything. I think the pricing is around $50 a month now, but it's an incredible competitive tool, and I haven't been able to find anything quite like it. You can look at your competitors' organic and paid search strategies. So just something to take a look at. If you go to surfsideppc.com/SEMrush, you can sign up there, support the podcast, and it's a great tool. You might as well give it a try if you haven't already, and there's a lot that you can use with it. So let's get started with today's show. So today's show is going to be focused on benchmarking. So this is something, when you're a new pay-per-click advertiser, you might not be too aware of, but a lot of times we use benchmarking in a business sense. So we talk about benchmarking ourselves versus our competitors, trying to find basically performance gaps, whether it's a certain process. Sometimes you might benchmark your logistics. And basically the whole thing is you're trying to improve. That's really all you're trying to do is improve. So when we talk about benchmarking, a lot of times it's benchmarking yourself versus your top competitors. And in pay-per-click, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. Using the tool I just talked about, Sem Rush, you can kind of get some more data that you want, but you're never really going to know, the exact statistics within your competitors, what they're doing in their AdWords campaigns. You're never going to know the exact, their exact results. So benchmarking your results versus their results, it's kind of meaningless because you'll never really know it. I mean, if you have that insider information, but that seems like something that's a little unethical. So what we're going to be talking about as far as benchmarking is benchmarking the results within your own account. So I'm going to use AdWords as an example today, but really you can apply this to Facebook ads, Twitter ads, anything you really need to go over, what benchmarking is and what benchmarking isn't and how to do it. So, so first, the importance of benchmarking, it's really to improve. There's no, it's not something where it's like anything too much beyond that. It's really, you're just trying to improve. You're trying to make a note saying, okay, here were our results for the previous week. Here's basically the benchmark that we're setting right now, and next week we'd like to improve it. So for me, as far as benchmarking, I don't set specific goals. My specific goal is just to improve. So let me give an example. So let's say we have campaign ABC, and it's a search campaign. It's targeting some of our most profitable keywords. So campaign ABC right now is converting, let's just say at $25 per conversion. So $25 per conversion. And let's say we have a large sample set, and that's kind of where we're at right now, is $25 per conversion. So how to actually benchmark is you start with that exact number. So you start with $25 per conversion, and you use it on a specific period of time. So let's just say the last 30 days are $25 per conversion. And let's say we're in the month of February. Okay, so we want to let February run through, and then we want to do a new benchmark. So this is on February 1st, based on what happened in January, and we'll just use 30 as an easier number. But based on what happened in January, our benchmark is $25 per conversion. So that's basically where you start with your benchmark. And you have your one statistic your one key performance indicator that you're looking at, and it's $25 per conversion over the past 30 days. So if that's the one benchmark we're looking at, the next thing you need to do is come up with a list, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that you can improve on, processes that you can improve on, things within your campaigns you can improve on. So let's talk about Google AdWords. So 30 days, $25 per conversion. Now you're looking within your account and you're saying, okay, how can we improve and get this, dollars per conversion down? And let's say you're trying to spend the same exact budget. Let's just keep budgets out of it. Let's keep all of that out of it. Your whole goal is to drive $25 per conversion within the same exact budget. Because if your budget goes up and down, it can change, what your conversion goals are. Because a higher budget, you might say, okay, well, we're spending more, so our, what we're paying per conversion might be a little bit more. And when you're spending less, you might say, okay, we're going to try to limit as much as possible and get that as low as possible. So let's just say same budget, everything like that. What you need to do is look at every aspect of your campaign. So that includes your text ads. So do you have 2 ads per ad group? AdWords recently switched to expanded text ads. Are you able to pause certain ads and create new ones? So basically what you're doing right now is your first step is you're going to look at your text ads. And this doesn't have to be your first step, but just one of the steps is your first step is you're going to look at your text ads and look at areas for improvement. So go to your top 5 ad groups, let's say, for example, and it depends how big your budget is. And what you want to do is look at each individual ad within the ad groups and see if there's anything not performing well. If something's converting at $30 per conversion, the other one's converting at $20 per conversion, then pause your $30 ad and create another ad that's similar to the $20 per conversion, but maybe with something with a slight improvement. Maybe do a better selling point, maybe do a better headline. So the first thing you want to do is improve your text ads. Use the data available to you from the previous 30 days. And you could even go back further than that, but use the data available to you from the previous 30 days and improve your text ads. And by doing that, you're going to start improving the processes that lead to $25 per conversion. And that's something you need to keep in mind. Keep improving those processes. Keep improving what's happening within your account. So let's say you start with text ads. So you optimize text ads. So now mark that off your list. So number 2, we're going to look at keywords. So look at your top 20 keywords, or even look at your keywords that have driven conversions, and look at keywords that are spending a lot and haven't driven conversions. What can you learn from them? What is something you can take away from them? Do you have a keyword that's spent, since we're looking at $25 per conversion, if you have a keyword that's spent $50 and hasn't converted yet, you might want to pause it. If you have, let's say, an exact match keyword that's not performing well, but the modified broad match keyword is performing well, then you have to take it a step deeper and you need to look within your actual search terms report to see what search terms are driving the results that you're looking for. So those are some things that you can look at as far as keywords. And ultimately the goal is, again, processes. What can you do to your keywords to make sure that the processes that are happening all month are going to improve? If there's keywords that are converting like crazy, maybe you have a keyword that's $10 per conversion, then increase the bid. Increase your bids a little bit and do that. So after you optimize text ads, you go into keywords, you use your search terms report, and basically one of the things I love to do, and this is going to be geared towards AdWords a little bit, but one of the things I love to do is go into the search terms report and find which individual search queries are driving the most conversions. So if you can find the search query that is driving the most conversions, you can use that exact match keyword and bid up on it and make sure that you're driving those optimal conversions as best as you possibly can. So now you've improved text ads, you've improved keywords, you've optimized both of them. So now what? So the next thing you want to do is look at some of the different data when your ads are running. Gender data, location data, and see what you can take away from that. I've had accounts that just simply didn't convert on the weekends. They were business-to-business accounts, and most of our conversions, actually all of our conversions, came Monday through Friday, and even though the spend was limited on Saturday and Sunday, we just never saw a conversion. So it was one of those things where it was a quick and easy way to say, okay, let's just cut out Saturday and Sunday altogether, focus on Monday through Friday, and then you put that budget that does convert back into the week. So days of the week and hours of the day are two quick things you can look at. You could look at gender. You can look at locations, and you can bid up and down on specific things. So if California is converting but Nevada isn't, you can bid up a little bit on California. And the same with genders, you can bid a little higher on men or female, or male or female, depending on what's converting. So for number 3, take a look at your location data, take a look at when your ads are running, and take a look at your gender data, because the more that you can use to your advantage, the better everything's going to end up being in the long run. So use those different things to improve. And again, these are more processes that your campaign's going through. And every auction, they're going to be able to say, okay, we want to bid a little bit higher on females this month because females converted better than males did last month. So it's just a way to improve your current processes. And that's really what we want to keep drilling down with benchmarking, is improve your current processes. So once you've improved all those things, location, gender, age, you can move on to the next thing, and that's going to be devices. So AdWords recently allowed you to switch to mobile, desktop, and tablet bidding. They used to have desktop and tablet together, but now you can bid separately on every device. So look at your device data and see if you can take anything away from that. And again, you want to use data. You can use data from the previous 30 days, but depending on how much data you have, you can go all-time data. You can go, last 60 days, 90 days, and just look at some of the trends, because things are constantly changing. You might have 1 month where mobile devices perform well and 1 month where they don't perform as well. So depending on your budget, you could always go back further than the 30-day period. And ultimately what you're looking for is to keep improving. And so right now we're at the $25 per conversion as we entered February. And you've taken your account and you've said, okay, let me improve these text ads. Let me improve these keywords. Let me add some negative keywords. Let me bid up on our top performing keywords. Let me look at location data. Let me look at gender data. Let me look at, hours of the day, days of the week. Let me look at when our ads are running and where we can find slight improvements. Again, you're not looking to save the world with one thing. You're not going to say, oh, wow, well, females, all convert at $1 per conversion while men were converting at $100 per conversion. It doesn't work like that. It's basically you're looking at every process that's going on within your account to improve it. So let's say you do all that and we're on devices now, so you can bid up and down on devices, see where, maybe your mobile website is performing extremely well and you want to bid up on mobile devices. So that's the next thing you want to look at, devices. After that, look at ad extensions. Do you have every ad extension in place? Is there any ad extension that's not relevant? Can you add ad group extensions? How can you become more granular and become more relevant for every search query? Is there, a site link that you can add for a page that's performing well? These are all the little questions that you need to be asking yourself constantly, and things that you need to be analyzing and data you need to be looking at so you can benchmark and you can improve everything. If you just benchmark, if you just say, okay, well, we're at $25 per conversion, all you're doing is basically writing down a statistic. But when you start going through and saying, okay, we can improve here, we can improve here, we can improve there, we can improve there, it becomes a lot easier to manage everything and to optimize everything. So far, we've gone through text ads, keywords, locations, genders, devices, time of the day, and day of the week. So those are the ones we've gone through, and now we're talking about ad extensions. So all these different things that we're looking at, if you're able to implement them within your own account and you're able to improve these things, it becomes much, much easier to constantly improve and constantly drive more conversions for the same exact budget. So after you look at ad extensions and improve there, and this is something you want to be doing monthly, you want to be looking at landing pages. So one of the biggest mistakes I believe in pay-per-click advertising is like landing page development and landing page testing. A lot of I've been with companies that spend millions of dollars a year and run one landing page, and it's terrible. It's one of the easiest ways. And it's not easy in terms of development and employment, but it's one of the easiest ways to improve your cost per conversion for an entire year. If you say, okay, you know what, instead of just using this one landing page, let's try landing page B and see if that helps us at all. Landing page B improves a little bit. Let's try landing page C against landing page B. And it's just this constant optimization for your conversion rate, on the landing page. And it's something that a lot of companies just don't do. It's just something, to me, it's laziness. And that's just a huge part of something that you can improve. So these are all kind of the little things that you can improve within AdWords. I know I didn't touch on everything. There's so much to touch on. You can also look at your remarketing list audiences. You can look at, are you using Conversion Optimizer? All sorts of these things are using customer match lists and improving them. There's so many things to look at and improve, and that's basically what the process of benchmarking is. So what we did at the beginning of this podcast is we said, okay, we want to improve on our $25 per conversion that we had in January. And I'm just pretending it's February 1st. It's not February 1st today, but we're in the middle of the month. So let's just say, in February, I want to get that $25 per conversion down. What benchmarking is saying you start with that $25 per conversion. That's your benchmark. And then what you're doing is looking at improving every single process that's in place so that you can improve that benchmark. So the processes in an AdWords account include the ads, the keywords, the bids, the bidding strategy, the location, the devices, the genders, landing pages, remarketing audiences, what conversions you're tracking, how you're tracking them, all these little things. So there's all these little processes in place in your AdWords account. And sometimes we get, and I've had this too, where you sit there and you're like, well, I think everything's improved up to where it needs to be improved, and maybe I just don't have enough data to keep improving it. And that's always wrong. That's always the wrong mindset to have, because if you're sitting there saying, okay, well, my keywords and text ads are extremely optimized and I need more data before I can optimize them more, there's always something else you can do. You can look at your ad extensions. Do you have ad group extensions? The answer is probably most likely no, based on the accounts I've looked at. If you have ad group extensions, are they all relevant? Is there any real-time extension you haven't updated yet? Call-out extensions. Are there call-out extensions that seem to have a lower click-through rate? So there's all these little things that you're looking to improve the processes of so that you can improve your benchmark of $25 per conversion. And ultimately, you might have, in February, you might stay still at $25 per conversion after doing all these different improvements, but then you do it again in March, and maybe in March you get it down to $22 per conversion because of the stuff you did early in February and the stuff you did again in March. So these are the types of things you need to do, and it's such an important. I want you to remember this podcast when you're sitting at your desk and looking at an account and you don't know what you need to do, because there's always something to do. There's always something to improve, and I think all you really need to do is sit down, write down all of these different processes that are involved in your AdWords account and improve them. Improve them over time, continuously improve them. And AdWords accounts are always changing, so when there's a new feature added, try to get it up as quick as possible. When something comes out of beta, try to get that up as quick as possible. So whatever it is, you're always trying to improve, and that's kind of the whole point of this podcast, is to talk about benchmarking, the processes in place to improve your benchmark. So keep that in mind. There's always something to do within your AdWords account. It's one of the things that frustrates me, because I've had people contact me saying, oh, I've been working on this, for the last 3 months and I just can't improve it. And when you get in, usually what happens is people aren't looking at the right things, or they're just looking at keywords, or they're just looking at text ads. They don't care at all about landing pages, or they have no control over it. And if that's the case, then you need to have a good solid form of communication with whoever is managing landing pages, because it's not going to be an excuse for you to improve. And at the end of the day, the company you're working for is going to come to you and say, hey, we need this improvement, and why aren't we getting it? So all these different things that go into it, all these different inputs that create the output of the conversion, what your cost per conversion is for that month, need to be constantly improved. And when you keep doing that, then you'll start to see some of the results. So that's the podcast today. Thank you for joining us. Again, I just want to go over SEM Rush one more time. So if you go to surfsideppc.com/SEMrush, you can see a lot of the different competitive data for your competitors. You can get some ideas as far as keywords, both in organic search results and for paid advertisements. So surfsideppc.com/SEMrush. Give it a try today, and let me know what you think. Thanks for joining us today on the podcast.
Thanks so much for listening to the Surfside Pay-Per-Click Advertising Podcast. We'll catch you next time.